Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dr. Ziauddin Asmau E, and I wrote this paper. And the title of the paper is Exploring the Use of Marker-Based Augmented Reality for Design Communication in Electrical Installations. We are at the University of Houston in the Department of Construction Management. Here is today's agenda. So we are trying to solve the problem which small construction companies face because they don't have access to modern tools and technologies. So in this research, we are testing augmented reality as a tool to present information so that they can improve their productivity and safety ultimately. So these three are our research objectives. Uh, to explore the extent of use of augmented reality by small construction companies for design and construction in Houston area. Number two, to design workflow for the implementation of marker-based augmented reality in electrical construction. And number three, to measure the effectiveness of marker-based augmented reality as a means of design communication strategy for electrical installations. Augmented reality is very close to real world environment, but it has some virtual environment content on it. So when augmented reality overlays content and real environment, it can be really be useful in medical, retail industry and in manufacturing industry, and similarly it has very good uses in construction also. Augmented reality can be used with markers or without markers. In marker, we use QR code to scan and get access to the information. In markerless, we can define other features which can help us to get the information which is attached to that particular point where we want to see the information on. And information could be video, audio, text, diagram, graphics, and other things attached to the QR code to provide information. So the methodology we developed for this research was having a 3D model in SketchUp and then installing a third-party application such as Rex plugin and generating a QR code and printing out that QR code on a piece of paper and scanning that QR code with the help of cell phone device or tablet and getting access to the model attached to the QR code. Just to give you idea how here is a bit more detail how we implemented the QR code approach. We had 3D model such as this couch and we installed third-party software. In our case, it was Rex. There are some others in the market available. So you can print a QR code based on the model, whatever you have. Then you can scan that QR code and put the model in the actual environment or real environment where you want to see it located. In this research, we developed a prototype of a drywall frame, and we just experimented or tested the drywall frame in the actual environment using cell phone device. We did some tests in the lab. So the data collection had two parts. One was industrial survey, and second was practical tests. Practical tests involved two different steps of data collection. Number one, it had pre-test questionnaire survey, and after the test there was a post-test questionnaire survey. And there was a third optional step, which was focus group interviews. So we asked whoever was interested in discussing more details about the tested focus group. On the right hand side, you can see augmented reality being accessed through tablet, and on the left hand side you can see the prototype we developed for this experiment. So on this slide you see one of the authors, Asmau, is performing experiment herself to test the system. Other participants engaged in performing the experiment during phase 1. So in the phase 1 experiments, we found that participants were not really getting all the information required to perform installation. So we decided to add more information to the model and perform second set of tests to check its effectiveness. So in the second test, we call it beta test. Beta test, we added some step-by-step information and some arrows and dimensions, so that people can get more information and perform test better. As I said, the new improved model had dimensions and markers, arrowheads, to draw attention to the point where we wanted them to follow different steps to complete installation. Here's the data analysis now, and we see that the general contractors were 18%, and others were about 12%. Electrical contractors were 11%. About 60% were above 100 employees. So, and majority of the respondents had no knowledge of AR usage, like about 7 respondents out of 15. The most commonly used technology was virtual reality. Augmented reality was on the second number. So other technologies, including BIM and any other visualization technology such as cameras they were using, were definitely larger than virtual reality and augmented reality. So what type of usage they have for AR? Mostly they were using it for design, visualization, or training purposes. So the reasons for not using augmented reality were not sure what it is, so they were not aware. They said they need training, and only 6% thought it's very expensive, and about 18% think there's no use in their work, and there were some other reasons which we could not identify. So when we asked them, what do you like to use, would you like to use AR in your company, they said 50% said yes, and 42% said they are not sure, and 8% said they are not going to identify in any of these two categories. The second part of the research was a practical test. Before the practical test, we asked questions. Participants, there were 9 participants in total. We asked them about their experience in virtual reality, augmented reality, which came up as they had almost equal experience. 80% of the participants were male, 20% for females, 73% were students, 18% were construction professionals, 9% were student and construction professionals, and mostly in study or practice of construction management they have used. Few were civil engineering and architecture students too. 80% had 1 to 5 years of work experience. So the 9 participants identified reasons for using AR. 38% said it is construction, 31% said it is gaming, and then 31% identified other reasons. When we asked specifically what are the uses in construction, and majority of them said safety training, and someone said only one person said BIM experiments and tests, and 5 of them said there are other uses. So we could not identify what those other uses were. So when participants were asked about the level of AR use within construction industry, 30% out of 9 participants, about 3 people, they have actively used in last 1 to 3 years, or other 30% actively used in less than 3 years, and 40% not actively used within last 1 to 3 years. So 90% of the participants had no experience in electrical connections. 70% think projection of QR code on surfaces where electrical installation need to be done would help them. 20% said it will not help them, and 10% were not sure. When we asked about their general feelings before the test, 30% of respondents out of 9 respondents in total were excited. and 60% of participants or respondents were enthusiastic but calm. 10% were nervous, and none of them had any health concerns or any other situation which can stop them from taking test. So after the performance of the test, post-test questionnaire was carried out. Only seven people out of 9 completed post-test questionnaire survey. 10% were disappointed, 20% were excited, 86% felt they completed the installation, 20% were unsure. All respondents enjoyed the experience. Participants rated their performance well above average. And responses to the challenges faced during the test: electrical connections not straightforward, and then they have navigation issues. So that's the reason we had to redesign the model and put a second test out, and the beta test, we call that beta test, and we had average time for the beta test 21 minute 15 second, which was better than the alpha test, because in alpha test we were able to get average of 35 minutes and 32 seconds. So conclusion, recommendations. So overall, AR is a useful way of communicating information in electrical installations. And when we improved the information presentation in the model, the test score was better. We were able to see improvement in the overall performance of the test. So we think like if BIM technology is being used more often, use of AR would be much easier uh, and easy to implement. So these are the recommendations, and I will go to the next slide and just mention limitations we faced during the execution of this test were mostly due to COVID-19 pandemic, which discouraged participants to participate in practical test and even in virtual survey, because many people don't like to use online surveys because they are small contractors, but we were not able to reach them in person to ask for the responses. Thank you very much. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to email us. All the research objectives we had in this study were achieved. Reference